highly entertaining, compelling interview. Roy Keane, lads. With
Tim Clancy plays the game anyway.
I was just going to say, yeah, we're going to go to Tim on a media show talking this afternoon.
But that's a good time to drop that in, lads. Thanks.
but actually, I mean, I know you're starting at a different level, but I mean, what do you think of his point there, Tim? Generally, like, how important is perception in management? Like, you're starting off in your career, but you're looking at, you're looking out there, you're looking at people getting jobs, and you're obviously be aware of what other people are doing. Like, can you see what Keane is saying there, or what do you make of his general stance on it?
Yeah, listen, you do hear about the merry-go-round in English football, particularly, where you see certain people are pigeonholed to do a certain job. Like Sam Allardyce is the man to go in and turn a season around and keep them up, and then he seems to leave the job then maybe 3 or 4 months into the next season or whatnot. And you can understand what he's saying, but I don't think a manager or too many would get 6, 7, 8 opportunities if they don't do a good job in a couple of them. I think the major factor is that they've actually had success. And then how it ends, I think people probably forget about it. They look back at the success that their managers had, and that's probably why they fit whatever position becomes available. And the chairman thinks, right, we'll be able to get him in. We know he's going to do a certain job. Roy himself obviously had a lot of success with Sunderland at the very start, and then he got them promoted. And I just think the character that he has and the persona that he has, I think chairman maybe think that they wouldn't be able to handle him. Now I don't know if that's true or not. I've never met Roy Keane, and maybe that's the image that chairman would have of the manager, and maybe they think it would be too difficult to handle.
That is a key point, isn't it? Because chairman kind of want an easy life.
Well, he did say like that.
They want results,
but he said,
they do. They also don't like. If you have a manager like, when you think of Brian Clough, like a manager even as good as that, like the problems chairman had with him, and that thing, I think with Keane, a lot of it is nonsense. Like, I think it's perception, but it's a valid point that Tim makes, Sam.
But he did, like the thing Keane said, I don't know if you listened to the whole interview, but he did say that a chairman had visited his house recently for an interview. Like, he had a discussion with a chairman, and like the interview was great, right? I did really enjoy it, but it sort of like at times like flirted with being really, really interesting, and then didn't quite go there. Like he dropped out some descriptions of people without necessarily naming them, and you're sort of thinking, okay, give us a small bit more here. But like I think there is something I think in what Tim says. Like I've every time you discuss Roy Keane, right, it can as you know, John, or anyone who sort of mans the phone lines, it can be difficult because there's some fans who adore and idolise Roy Keane and can see no wrong in what he says, and yet on the flip side of that, clearly like there are flaws in the character that have affected him, because I do think the football network is something that does exist, and I'm not sure if he's fully overcome maybe some of the chatter about how things went at Ipswich for him. But at the same time, to be consistent, as Tim said, he did a very good job broadly at Sunderland. I think actually it's interesting that he says about it now himself. There's actually a bit of reflection in Keane that he was really unhappy with his second season at Sunderland, when actually deep down he should have realised pragmatically staying up would have been fine for them, and that actually Keane was a victim of his own impatience when he was younger, that he wanted to like I think his version of success, and it's part of, like, he's talking about going into Championship League One, but his version of success there is that you win the league, you get up. But sometimes success for a manager is just keeping a team up. It is steadying the ship, and that I'm not sure if he can realign being the Manchester United captain, winning everything, winning trophies, with the jobbing manager's demand, which is sometimes just to get a team through a particular patch.
And he was impatient.
And they are the people who sometimes get the jobs again and again. They do go in and play the game. They go for 18 months somewhere and they move on to the next one. Whereas it seems like with Keane, he it's nothing less than winning something, and then after a while he gets impatient, cabin fever sets in, he gets frustrated with the limitations of players, and it becomes a sort of a cycle. I don't know, it's just hard to snap out of it. But it's still fascinating. Like, people, I don't know, Tim, like, does he fascinate you? If you hear Roy Keane is doing an interview, are you like one of those that gravitates towards, I want to hear what he has to say, or are you a bit like, I've heard it all before at this stage from Roy?
Listen, growing up, Paul McGrath and Roy Keane were the two football people I looked at that absolutely idolised. So I'm fascinated with Roy Keane. And again, I think you touched on it there, Dan, in regards to what might be holding him back getting opportunities in management. Probably has him as the main and probably the most sought after and successful pundit, because his opinions and how strong he is and the bluntness that he says things in, I think people love looking at it. And it does sort of strike up a debate. But in a dressing room, if you're managing a lot of players that, listen, he's used to, I'm sure, at Manchester United, he would have been able to give a blunt, straightforward opinion to people, and the success that United had, nothing short of perfection would be accepted. So maybe at a lower level with lower class of player, that same approach possibly mightn't have worked. But again, touching on it, listen, he got success at Sunderland, and then probably success for him the next year. And thought, listen, top end of the table, we finish it.